Hey, it's Josh, co-founder at Interact. We've been building assessments for companies since 2013, and I wanted to run you through best practices for creating effective assessments, meaning that you want an assessment that's going to hook people in, engage them, address something that they actually care about, and then also move forward to an action that the person is going to want to take. I'm going to start off by showing you some examples here so we get a baseline of what we're talking about, what the capabilities are. This first one here that I have pulled up, this is from some work that we did with HubSpot. This is for a entrepreneurial program they were running. How much of your business can be automated? This is a really nice example of how an assessment works. You take quiz, and then you say, how are you tracking customer data and information? These are really simple questions. It's kind of like I do or I don't. But on the back end, this is a branching quiz. So depending on which answers you're selecting, it's branching off so that it can give specific feedback whether or not you are automating certain pieces of your business. So I'll just click through this, answer these questions fairly quickly to show you what you'll see at the end. And at the end, your results, your answer, explanation. And so this is a specific readout for me based on which parts of my business I am and am not automating. Now, the nice thing here is that you can give recommendations right here. So start by adopting a free CRM like HubSpot, or they give other recommendations. So it's not just recommending the HubSpot tools. So this is a really nice example of a way of using an assessment, figure out how much is automated, then give recommendations that tie back to your products and services. I want to pull up another one here that's kind of like a different approach to this from Atlassian. Which play is right for you? Take this 5-question quiz to find the right team playbook to help you save time, get on the same page, or boost productivity. Now, you'll notice that a lot of these are being framed as quizzes. That's because in the general vernacular, whether or not somebody is like, an intern or in the C-suite, quiz tends to have a more resonant meaning with people. Like it just makes more sense. Assessment gets a little serious and a little like less light, and so it tends to get lower engagement. Now, if it's really important that you have a like really serious approach to things, then by all means call it an assessment. But just keep in mind that for the average person, answering something that's a quiz feels more approachable to them. So this is also using branching. I'll just click through it. I think it's 5 or 6 questions. It says your next move is to reduce meetings. Try this weekly team update, why it works, prep your weekly update. And that links to another tool within the Atlassian universe. So these are 2 really good examples of using an assessment. Now I want to walk you through how to build one inside of Interact just really quickly to show you. This is my Interact dashboard. If I create a new quiz, start from scratch. In our specific system, there's 2 ways of doing assessments. This one called assessment is where each question has a correct answer, and you can give people feedback based on that answer that they choose, whether they get it right or wrong. And then there's a scored quiz, which is a tally in the back end. I'm going to choose that one because it's like the example here. What is your marketing IQ? That's more of what people typically think of when they're thinking of assessment. It's going to walk you through some key features, and then we'll actually build one real quickly just using some ChatGPT to help us so that we don't have to think of all the questions on the spot. So let's say we want to call this, are you using AI effectively in your workplace? So this could be for like, C-suite people. It could be for whoever is managing AI in a workplace. I'm just going to grab an image here. We have an Unsplash integration built in, but you can upload your own images. That's usually what ends up happening, especially if you're building something that's more proprietary, but I'll just drop that in here. And then I'm just going to change this button color so that we can kind of match a brand. Let's say our brand is using AI purple, as everybody likes to call it these days. And then you can write your description in here. So find out if you are using AI effectively or falling behind. Okay, so that's kind of like our boilerplate. And then we go into the questions, and it's just like a really simple interface here. You can set the answer scores for each answer choice that somebody gives. So, like, let's say this is 0 and this is 2, and then you add another question. And then the results are going to be based off of how many points somebody gets. So, usually, how that works is like the more points you get, the more proficient you are in the area that's being assessed. And so, it's a really easy way to just like quickly measure people, make it simple. Um, and then I'll go ahead and preview. Let's go ahead and actually run some ChatGPT here. We'll switch over. And so right here, I've got a little prompt going. It just says, based on this report, can you make me an assessment called, are you using AI effectively in your workplace, that is built using Interact's scored logic system? ChatGPT knows pretty well what's going on with Interact. Sometimes it makes stuff up that's not exactly how we operate, but usually it knows because most of our content is indexed in there. And then I just pasted in a research report on using AI in the workplace. And I'm going to go ahead and run this real quick so that we can grab some questions that we can copy and paste in. So it'll make it a little easier. Oh, nice. It gave us a great description. So it does know that Interact needs a description. So we'll grab that and we'll copy that in. And then let's see what else we got. Scored logic, 0 to 3 points. Yeah, so it did set up the logic correctly here. How familiar are you? It's a pretty basic quiz. Not gonna lie, I would not use this myself, but we're just gonna go ahead and copy and paste this in here so we can get some stuff going and show you how easy it is to build this. I'm just gonna add an answer. And so, yeah, this is really simple. Stuff coming out of ChatGPT is gonna be like a 0, 1, 2, 3, obviously. Not what I would use in production, but just to show you how easy that's going to be to set up. 0, 1, 2, 3, boom, set that up. Then I can add another question. Let's go ahead and add 2 questions and we'll do 1 result, just because I want to show you what you can also do with the branching logic. And in order to have branching logic, you got to have two questions. So you can either use the straight up scored system, or you can use branching logic like the examples that we looked at. So here we go. There's answer C, and then 1 more, answer D. And I'm not speeding any of this up because who needs that anymore, right? Let's be real about how much work things take. It's not the easiest thing in the world to build a great assessment, but people do say that the engagement on these things is really solid. It helps with memory retention because it's just kind of simpler, Oh, you can copy and paste emojis into Interact. So that's a cool little use case. Yeah, the engagement's better. I'm just going to hide the result image here for now. So that's 1 result. So if we were just use this by default, you would take this quiz. You'd say, okay, I got 0 points here and I got 1 point here, so I'm the beginner. You can add buttons to these results like this. So get a report, whatever you may want to link to. And then let's just look at the branching logic really quickly, because that is probably my favorite feature. It's really, really powerful. So let's say you have this come in here and you want 0 point people to branch off and see a different question than 1 point people, and 1 point people will see a different question, which we don't have a different question here, but let's say this was a different question. And then you can force the results. So like this is going to be beginner if you're 0, 0. So you can force it where it's like there's an exact pathway through. If you choose this, boom, you want to go here. Really powerful for actually just setting up every single pathway exactly how you want it. Then the other thing that's really powerful here is our lead gen. So this is a feature that most people will use. So enter your email to see your results, and then like get the full report on AI in the workplace. And then you can customize the color, pop that in, save that. And then this is really cool. You can connect it to any of these integrations. So the big popular ones, especially with assessments, is going to be obviously HubSpot, potentially something like an Active Campaign if you are using that for your automation. Those are kind of the big ones, but we integrate with all of these directly. So no need for Zapier, any other third-party connectors. You just click on that, pop it in, and then you say, all right, if somebody's a beginner, I want to add them to this contact list, or I want to add them to this workflow or this contact property. And each result can go to a different thing. And then that's just going to be auto setup. I'll turn this on so that we can look at this is my example quiz opt-in list, so that we can look at how that flow looks. So you go through, you can also do that based on any answer to any question, which is kind of wild how powerful that is. It's pretty nuts. So I'll go ahead and save that. Test this integration real quick. Send a lead through. Nope, got to send my name. Send that lead through. Boom, all good. Then we'll publish. I'm going to show you the publish options here because usually you're going to want to embed this into a page. So you use JavaScript. That way everything auto resizes and looks nice. Really, really simple. But I'll just grab the direct link here so that we can look at it. And here it is. Here's our nice quiz. Obviously you'd have your designer look at this and stuff, but here's how it functions. Here's that email capture at the end, and you skip that step. Now, I want to speak directly to PII because if you do not want to go through a vendor validation and you want to control all the PII, the way you can do it is like this example here that I have pulled up from Twilio. This assessment will go through the questions. This is an Interact quiz embedded into this page using probably the JavaScript embed. But you'll see at the end, it's going to redirect. This one redirects within the frame, but you can redirect the host page as well. It's going to redirect to a page that's on Twilio so that they don't need to use our data capture built in. They can use their own data capture and not have any PII come out. All the data that comes through the platform, if you're doing it this way, is just aggregated. It's not tied back to any individual. So this is redirecting to their own page. And on this page, they have their own opt-in form. So whether you're using Marketo or Salesforce or ExactTarget, HubSpot, whatever you're using, you can redirect it and then use your own opt-in form. And you can redirect it to different pages so you still know which result the person got. And this is really powerful because it allows you to get all the power of the interactivity, the assessment, but not have to deal with another third-party vendor validation, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's easier for data control just to do it that way. Now, if it's all good and you want to use the built-in one, that works as well. It's right in here. And then you can see all this. You can see analytics on these quizzes. So assessments are very cool. I think they're an underrated format of content from the interviews that I've been doing this year with content marketers, heads of marketing, VPs of marketing, directors of marketing. It sounds like assessments are a really effective way, especially with AI coming on the scene where people are wanting more personalization. They want things to be more unique to them. It's a way to do personalization that's fairly easy to repurpose from other content that you already have or reports that you already have. And then also, it's more human because you are specifying each of the results. Obviously, in my example here, I use ChatGPT. Don't recommend doing that straight out of the box, but you can use it as like a starting place and then build from there. So definitely highly recommend jumping in on assessments. There's a number of brands that are really building out like hubs of assessments these days where they are just turning research reports, content into assessments and having a lot of success in driving higher engagement with those.